Welcome back to Space of Grace Today, your sister in the challenges, possibilities, and victories on this journey called life. Our hope is that you will find wholesome morsels that will whet your appetite and leave you thirsting for more of God. Good intentions. Friends, when good intentions are not met with wise godly counsel, disaster crouches on the horizon, waiting to shipwreck our plans. All of a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord. Proverbs 16, verse 2. Singing and dancing, music and laughter, and just an all-around happy time with people aflutter with jubilation. Surely it was the brainchild of someone who had everyone's best interest at heart. Unfortunately, our best intentions are sometimes met with opposition and disaster. Maybe we neglected something in our planning, allowed our judgment to become clouded, or could it be that we consulted with the wrong individuals during the planning stage? Our test subject today is King David. Scriptures would dub him as a man after God's own heart. 1 Samuel 13, verse 14. He passionately pursued God's will regarding everything, or did he? David had a history of seeking God's advice before doing anything. So between the 11th and 12th chapters of the book of 1 Chronicles, we see him anointed king and then blessed with an overwhelming number of mighty warriors. But friends, things went terribly wrong as we see him consulting his military commanders for solutions to a spiritual matter. The repatriation of the nation of Israel and the ushering in of the Ark of the Covenant, the very presence of God. These questions definitely needed to be posed to the Almighty himself. What could have clouded his judgment on this occasion? Was it his emotions swayed in the afterglow of victory? Was it dulled inhibitions that laid the tracks of subtle digression from pursuing God's advice to seeking man's approval? Oh, friends, how often do we find ourselves cornered in the same manner as David, marching to the beat of a different drummer, caught up in the moment, and seeking wisdom outside of the counsel of God, giving into whatever the survey says. Many times good intentions run contrary to what God has commanded. David's lapse in good judgment. Wrong attitude. He was out of character, seeking advice for a spiritual matter from his men instead of God. Wrong decision. Bringing the nation of Israel home without getting the green light from God first. Wrong method. Using an ungodly practice, a cart, to carry the symbol of God's presence. Wrong people. Allowing a non-Levite, a man that was not of the priestly order, to transport the Ark of the Covenant. All of David's so-called good intentions led to God's anger flaring up against Uzzah. Uzzah was struck to death by the living God when he, with good intentions, reached out and touched the Ark of the Covenant, the symbol of God's holy presence. Oh my God, my God. This was serious business. Beloved, God gave specific commands on how He wanted things to be done. And when we choose to employ our own methods, we delay the process, running the risk of bringing disaster on ourselves, our families, and others. Oh, what a very sobering thought for us today as we consider the magnitude of the decisions we make on a daily basis. In Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3, it reads, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." Oh, precious one today, let us run our ideas and all of our plans through God's mass spectrometer. He can identify and sift out the impurities, rendering a good, righteous result. Remember, we want God's blessings on our lives, our families, our businesses, and the works of our hands. So it is incumbent upon us to commit everything to Him. Today's reflections. Proverbs 14, verse 12. It reads, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death." Oh, believer, we have been bought with a price. That means we do not run things anymore. God does. Your sister in the journey until next time saying, be encouraged. This is your inspiration on the way.